Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing stages 27 to 32 at the Fanhome release of Build the Fast and Furious Toyota Supra. I'm having problems saying the word furious today for some reason. Don't know why that is. Look, got myself a cap. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Trouble is, if I wear this cap, look, my whole face is in shadow. And we did Batman yesterday. We don't need to be in the shadows, do we? Today, I've got no idea what we're doing. But before we even start on any of this or talk about where we can get this from, I've got a little bit of catching up to do. And basically, if you remember, this is where we got to. But in the last pack, we did have a missing arch here. As you can see, I've got that now. This was stage 25. I had the magazine, and I believe I showed you the magazine as well in the last video. And I'm hoping I did, because I don't actually keep magazines. So unless someone specifically requested them to be sent from them, I don't keep them. So for that reason, I don't have the magazine. But I do know what I'm actually doing here. So I don't keep these ones. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So I'm just going to mirror what I've done on that side over here. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this onto here. Can't for the life of me remember what screw this was. So I'm hoping it's the eye screws, which are just going to go in here. Because I do think it's the BM screws I've got, which actually put this onto the base here. Wayne, why did you get rid of the magazines? Perfect. And then I'm just going to put this into position just like this and hold this in with a BM screw. Now, my mind's coming back that I don't think they're all BM screws. I think it's an IM screw down here as well. So I think we need a longer screw down there. I'll find that out in a minute. Putting this screw in down here. And there you go. They're both in place. So that means that I'm now actually caught up. Let me take that hat off now. I'm going to be working on the next 6 stages. Now, if you do want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description. And you do have that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So here we go. Stage 27. Here is the magazine. I'm glad I'm not outstanding any stages now. And we're going to be doing the rear mudguards, looking just like this. And I'm going to be putting these into place by the arches that we've just installed. So that's how it's looking. And here you go. Here's stage 27. Okay, so these mudguards are stamped. So this is an L, and obviously I've got a stamp on here for an L. We know this is the left side. And they're basically going to be going into the 2 holes here, but from the inside. So they're just going to clip into the holes. Probably best on the top camera to see that. But as you can see, that's in there just like that. Now, once again, on the back of it, I've got another panel here, which is labelled L for left. Again, this is going to go on the inside here. But as you can see, it's going to slot sort of like in here and sit on top, just like that. Now, I need 2 lots of screws here. And these are IP first, which is just going to go into the end one because that's going into plastic. And then we've got AM screws, which are going into the metal, these 2 points just here. And we need 2 of these to go in. Oops! And it's a bit of a worry because my first AM screw has just broke there. So I am going to be holding this in with 1 screw. I'm not going to make this too tight, I don't think. I've got a nagging feeling we might have some glass screws here. So just enough to hold that in there. I'm just being held in with 1 screw because this whole thing's actually going to be held to the base here with some NM screws. Now these are flange screws. We did have a build before where we had some really fragile screws. Was that the DeLorean? Can't remember. But I mean, it's held in by basically 5 screws, so it's not going anywhere. Obviously, these that are going into metal, we do want tight, but not too tight because we are pushing down on plastic, and all you're going to do is just break the plastic if you make them too tight. So that's going to be perfect there. And that's the mudguard in this position here and here. And that just means we're going to do exactly the same on the other side here. So again, I'm going to be putting this piece behind here. The only way to get this in, I find, is put it on its side and then line up the holes that this is going to be going into. And obviously, make sure you put it in the right way as well. Not like what I just tried to do. Perfect. So that's one side in there. And once again, put the back in, which means just sliding it in like this and then tilting it back on itself so it fits flush in there. Same way, an IP screw in this side. I have been putting oil on these AM screws. Let's see if we have that problem here. Yeah, I'm not risking it. I'm not going to put them in too tight. And then finally, the flanged NM screws just down the bottom here. It's positively blowing a gale out there at the moment. Just outside the workshop. But as you can see, with both of those in place there and there, that's all there is to do in that stage. So, stage 28. Here is the instructions. Couple of little bits here for the rear axle that we're going to be creating. We're going to be putting this together just like that. So that's how it's looking. This looks like there's not much to do in this one. As a matter of fact, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was when I saw the picture. Okay, this is all metal. As you can see here, it's quite heavy as well. I'm going to want it this way round because I'm going to be putting this into place. It's going to fit perfectly in here, like that. The notch needs to be facing this gap just here, and I'm holding that in with IM screws each side. Just assume I'm putting it in oil now, because I am. One in there, and one in that side. Now if I turn this way round, I've got 2 points here which I need to put a bracket in. This is what the bracket's looking like. It has got a curved side and a flat side. I want the flat side against that section there, with the curved side facing out. So that's how that's looking there. I've got some BM screws, and that's going to go right down the center here and hold that into place. Now the other thing to mention is that it's very hard to see, but you do have a little stamp at the bottom which tells you what's left or right. Put the left one in here. This is the right hand side one going in this side here. There's a little R in there. I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm thinking it does, because when we put screws into this, we're going to want the screws to go a certain way round into that bracket. So you do need to make sure you've got these the right way round. But with that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 29, here's the instructions. And we are going to be doing some more of the rear axle here. All of these parts looking like that. We're going to start building onto this so it's looking like that there. That's how it's looking at the end. Just while I was looking through this, I was looking at some of the other stages. It looks like we've got some fiddly stuff coming up. This is quite a heavy pack, so most of the stuff in here is metal. Especially this centre section, as you can see here. We're going to be putting some parts onto this. Now they are labelled left and right, so what I want is the left plate first, which is this one. That's going to be going into the position just on here. It's held in from the front with BM screws. Perfect. So one in that side. You've guessed it, we're going to be doing the same thing on this side here. Now, keeping it this way round, I'm going to start putting in these control arms. Now, again, they are labelled left and right. So I want the left one first. I want the narrower side to be going into this position just here. Because I've put this together now, it's going to be a little bit of a squeeze to get that in, but I have got that in. I'm holding that in with an LM screw. These are quite large screws. Dip it in a little bit of oil and I'll put that through the top. And if I've lined it up properly, that should go all the way through, no problems at all. Excellent. As you can see, that's in place. Do exactly the same on the other side here. It's just a case of wiggling it into position till you've got it lined up. That looks good. I do put the tip of the LM screw in some oil. That's going to help it go through there and put that all the way through. Okay, so they're both in like that. Now if I flip this over just like that, I've got a couple of these brake hose connectors to put in. They're actually going to be fitting into the holes here. Make sure they go all the way down there. So one's there and one in this side as well. Push it from the center because you don't want to break that tab there. And then what I want to do is I want to bring over what we've just created here, and I'm going to be putting this into position on top here and here. So the holes that we've got here and here are going on the lugs here and here. That's held in with BM screws. One there. And finally just one in this side. Okay, you need to match up these brackets now. They sort of like tilt away from each other. Now they are labelled up. So this has got an L on it. And what I want to do, that's the left-hand side one, which means this one is going here. They sort of tilt towards each other, and then the right-hand side one's going to have those two on that side there. So let's work with the left-hand side one first, which is going to be going just onto this side. I want the bigger one going in the middle there, the smaller one going on this side over here. And it should sit just like that. So they're sort of facing each other. That's looking good. Okay, BM screws are going to hold those in. Don't know if I can use my screwdriver here. It's quite a big... yeah, I think I'm going to need my other screwdriver here so I can get this all the way down. I haven't got the clearance, you see. And the good thing about making these is obviously what we've done on one side, we're just going to repeat on the other side here. So just one there, and I'm going to put one in this side. And when they're in, they should look just like that. And that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 30, here's the instructions. And we are going to be doing the rear stabilizer bar and shock absorbers, looking like this. Getting this all together. So it's all about the rear axle today by the look of it. So that's how that's looking. And there is certainly lots to do, that's for sure. It's been so cold here, my accident book has fallen off the wall, but I've just gave myself a plastic paper cut, so can't win, can I? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking part of the suspension rods here and I'm going to be putting these bushes on. One here, and one on this side. When I put these on, I want to make sure that the plain part is towards the top. Then these are going to go in the springs. So one there and one here, very detailed. These are then going to go into the top of the suspension housing here. Now, you do have an indented side. Again, you might be able to see that on the top camera. What I want to do is I want to put that in there and I'm going to be putting a screw in. Now, when I put the screw in, I'm going to need to compress the spring so the screw can go all the way in. Now, these are QM screws. They are tiny. So what I want to do is start them off here and then push this down and then tighten it up. So that when it comes out, it can't come out now. It's locked in. It has still got that springiness to go up and down though. It is quite tough, but that's in position. Do the same on this one. Again, make sure you put it in the right way. Little QM screw. Just going to start it off there. Push this down. and then screw that in. And as you can see, you shouldn't be able to take that out. Excellent. Okay, we're just going to be bringing over the sway bar now. And I've got these little parts here to put on. Now, these are slightly off-centered. It does say, carefully check the orientation of the parts. Okay, you just know I'm going to put this in the wrong way. Right, so I've got this one here that needs to go out. So there's a slight tilt on one of these. So by the look of it, this one's going on this side. I'm hoping that's right. It's held in with an IM screw. Again, I'm going to have to use my bigger screwdriver for this one and get this into position. Now my goal here is to ensure that that screw is going in straight. That looks good. But it has got a little sort of lean on that direction, so I'm guessing that we're going to have the same on this one, which is going to go in that side. It's very difficult to see that, I have to say. Screw that in. Perfect. I hope that's right. We're going to find out now, because I'm going to be putting this into place. So if I have the axle this way round, this is going to be sitting under here into the cavity on each side, just like this. What I don't know, which I'm just going to try on the other side, is does it matter which way round it goes? Because they're both tilting off in other directions. I don't think it does. But I'm going to put that in there, and then I've got these brackets which are going to go over the top here. And another one here, which are going to stop this going anywhere. Now I'm holding them in with HM screws. These are quite tiny, so I'm having to use my smaller screwdriver for this. And get these in. 2 each bracket. So now, these little drop links here are going to be going into the suspension arms on either side here. They're held in with IM screws. Got them here. And by the look of it, they're going through the metal section first. The metal bracket here. And then they go into the drop link. Do the same on this side here. And there you go. They're both in position. All that's left to do then is to put the suspension in. It's actually going onto these points just here. They're held in with a DM screw again through this side. You've got a larger hole and a smaller hole. So you want the larger hole to be the hole that your screw goes in first. That'll help you line it up so you can screw the full thing in here. So that's one side there. And then just do the same on the other side here. Oops! Perfect. And with those in, so I've got that in the other side as well, that is all there is to do in that stage. So stage 31 is the instructions. And we're going to be doing the rear differential, building that together like this, and then adding this to that rear axle. So that's how that's looking. Again, lots of tiny parts here. And the first thing I'm going to want to do is we're going to want to put the differential dust covers together. So that's the case of putting this keyhole pattern onto this section, and I want to have it this way round so that the rivets, if I can get this in, are facing upwards like that. So one there and one there. They should clip in so they can hold themselves. Now we're going to start putting this into the differential here. So one of these dust covers are going to go on this side, and again we're matching up that keyhole pattern so it's going to fit flush in there. I'm holding it in with an IP screw from this side. So that's good. So that shouldn't be able to spin. Just load up another screw, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side just here on this different piece of the differential. So again, line up that keyhole pattern, and then screw this in. Okay, I'm going to want to put the back of the differential on now, which means matching up these lugs with the holes just here. So that's going to go in just like that. I'm holding that in with CP screws. A lot of screws in this one. No oil, I'm going into plastic, so as you can see I can't use my gadget screwdriver for this. Very good differential though. Probably the most detailed differential I think we've done on a 1.8 car. Once that's in, I've got to put the coupler on, which just goes into the little end like that. So the drive shaft can go through there. Then I'm going to be pinning both of these parts here together, which means taking this section, putting it over the top and ensuring that it has encased that coupling there. That's good. I'm holding that in with 2 IM screws. These are actually quite thin screws, which are just going through the top there. That's perfect. And then this is in a position to be put into the rear axle here. So I want to make sure I get it round the right way. It's actually going to be going on this way here with all the detailing facing upwards. And I want to line up the back so I can put some screws into the back there as well. But first off, we're going to put it in through the top with BM screws. That's going to stop this moving around. Perfect. And then I just want the CP screws going through the holes at the back here. You might have to sort of bend down the sway bar so you can get access to that. But one in there. Bend it down just a touch, just so I can get the one in the other side. That's going nowhere now. Looking good. Put that to one side. And I'm just going to build up the cooling pump now, which means I need the base and the actual pump. I'm going to put these together. So it's a case of lining up the lug and the hole. It's going to come out the bottom, holding that in with a DP screw. This is a flange screw. Just through the bottom. And then I've got a little detail, which is just going to go on the top here. So that's looking just like that. And then this is just going to be pushing into the bottom here. Now I might have to look on social media because I remember seeing a post about something being in the wrong way on here. But I can't remember for the life of me if it was this or if the differential was the other way around or what. I don't know. Haven't got a clue. But with that pushed into the lugs at the top, that's all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this pack is stage 32. Here's the instructions. And we're going to be doing the rear left knuckle and brakes. And putting this all together like that, we're going to start putting this onto that rear axle. So we are finishing up with another very detailed stage. So let's see how we get on with that. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to put the rear suspension arm into this knuckle here. Now I need the smaller one here that looks like this, and that's just going to be going onto that end there like that. Now I'm just checking which way round this is going. It needs to go that way with this notch facing me. I'm holding that in with a GM screw. This is a flange screw. Perfect. Then I've got this very big one now, which is going to be going on the top just here, just like that. And this is going to take an OM screw just through this side and make sure that goes all the way through to the other side. Now on the bottom of this, I've got a wishbone to put in. I'm going to want it this way round, and that's just going to go on the top there, and that's held in with an MM screw. And this is a flange screw here. Get that in. Then I'm going to be putting the brake plate into position, which is just going to go onto the 2 points there. That's held in with QM screws. We've used a different screw in every single part we put on. These are flat-headed top screws. One there. and one here. And now we're going to be building this up. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having this part of the brake first, which is going to go this way round like this. On top of that, we're going to be having the brake disc, which has got some adhesive on it. So I need to remove the adhesive and I need to get this into position on here. So what's probably best is to actually piece these two parts together first, which is going to be tricky. I'm going to keep rotating it until I find the position it needs to go in, because we do have, I think that looks perfect. There we go. So you've got 3 lugs and 3 holes that you're going to need to align up there. So they look like that. As a matter of fact, there you go on the top camera. Right, that's in. I'm happy. That is going to be going just on here. We've got the cover going on. Again, this is going to push into these lugs, so we need to make sure that this is on the right way. That's also going to center that brake disc there. Now this is metal, so I do want this to go flat. I am going to use my hammer to ensure that that's in all the way and flush on there. So that's going nowhere. That's a very tight fit. I'm going to be putting the caliper on now. So the caliper is just going to go into here underneath this section now. That's held in with CP screws. And we need 2 of these. So one there and one here. And then I'm going to be connecting one end of the rear brake hose, which I've got here, onto the nipple just on that caliper. Now I am going to put a little bit of glue on the end there. I don't want that going anywhere. Perfect. That's going to stay into position. And now we get to put this onto the axle. So let's just make space. So it's going to be going onto this side here. Now I've just noticed that I've got to put the suspension arms in the wrong way. I'm an idiot. Okay, so let me just take this out. Very quick fix this is. They should be in that way there. I bet you're all shouting at me when I put them in. But I get to it at the end and I make mistakes so you don't have to and all that. One in this side. Let's just turn that one round as well. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Right. Okay, so we're going to be putting this into position. So I want this to be fitting into these 2 points just here and here. That's the wishbone going into the points just at the top there. Then on the side here, we're going to be putting the whole knuckle into that point there on the bracket, just like that. And then that leaves this one little tiny rod here, which I'm just going to have to maneuver into position, which is going into the bracket just there. Okay, so first off, the wishbone at the top is held in with 2 RM screws into the holes here. So one that side and one this side. I'm going to need one of these flange screws. Perfect. Now I've got this bracket here, which is going to be going into this little indent just down the bottom, just like that. I'm holding that in with a BM screw, and I think you can see how this is going to go. If I can keep this one just out the way for a second, because the last rod that we've got is actually going to go into here. So I'll just screw that into position. And we're going to need an RM screw again, because this is just going to go into the position just here. Like that. And put an RM screw in through this side. Even with oil, that's quite tough. Get that all the way in. And there you go. So that is in place. Perfect. Now I'm going to make the drive shaft outer joint now. A couple of bits to put in here, which is basically this section here. So I'm putting this rod through here, so it comes out like that. Then I've got a bush to put on, which is going in there like that. And I'm going to want to put this between the wheel and the drive shaft. So get that in there and push one end of this onto the back of the knuckle, and then the other side will go into the bush, into the differential. Probably best on the top camera to show you that going in. This is a little bit harder. There we go. So bush in that side, that one in there. That's in position. I've got a bracket here. This bracket is going to be going, let's get it right, which is going to be going into the two parts just at the top, this way round. So the letter's actually facing down. I'm holding them in with BM screws. One there and one here. Perfect. And then the last thing I need to do is just take one of these NM flange screws, and I've got a little washer here, which I'm just going to be putting onto that flange screw, load up my screwdriver, and just for now, this is actually going to go into the end of the hub there, just to hold that all into place. Wow, that was quite an involved stage, but as you can see, looking really good. And I'm guessing in the next pack, we're probably going to be doing that side. But that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Wow, that pack was super involved. But we have done, well, 7 stages altogether with the one that we're catching up on. But I am very much impressed with how that looks. I mean, check that out. That's excellent. Okay, there you go. Another pack done. I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.